YouTube. Welcome to the Mentors Show tonight. And of course, those of you with us on Instagram, welcome. You came to die for me. You are the reason why. Now I could see I'm being glorified in the decay. I'm reaching down. You are marvelous. So welcome to the Mentor Show tonight. Let me roll the tape.
Imagine a place where you can escape for a day. Get immersed in a world of rules, inspiration.
We are not imagining. Well, we imagine actually, but not tonight. Roll the tape intro.
Strap yourself in,
That's our
because we're
intro.
set up, switched on, and ready to go.
Hello, welcome. I'm Dr. Olusola Ajide, your host on the Mentors Show, where we inspire you,
So welcome.
help you reinvent yourself, and to make a positive impact in your community, in your country, and on your continent. We mentor people across Africa. We bring you guests with inspiring life stories who are themselves transformation agents, making a positive change in their profession and nations. Subscribe to the African Coaching and Mentorship Initiative YouTube channel. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
Yes, welcome. Welcome to the Mentor Show. I'm your host, Dr. Olusola Ajide. And you know how it is on the Mentor Show is a show where we inspire you, we bring you inspiration. It's a show where we bring you ideas of how you can reinvent yourself. It's a show where we bring you tips and nuggets that would help you to become a change maker, a transformative change agent in your country, in your community, and of course, on the continent wherever you are. And we come your way every Tuesday to serve you this wonderful, wonderful session of inspiration, of education, of entertainment, if you like, of engagement. And that is what we are here to do again, even tonight. And tonight, so welcome again, our audience on Instagram, our audience on Facebook, and of course on LinkedIn. Thank you for being with us tonight on the Mentors Show. And of course, our friends on YouTube, welcome to the Mentors Show tonight. And tonight, like you know, is going to be another great session of the show tonight. Now, the Mentor Show, we do normally have guests come on the Mentor Show, but for a while now, we've not had guests on the show. Why has that been? Because we've been consumed, particularly by the need for the transformation of the continent of Africa. Don't forget, this Mentor Show is brought to you by the Africa Coaching and Mentorship Initiative. We mentor people, young people, professionals, and of course those who are even growing professionals across the continent of Africa. And of course young people who are in the universities. And so we are passionate about seeing the transformation of the continent of Africa. And that is why we focus tenaciously these periods to keep looking at all the nations. And today, drum roll, we are looking at nation number 40. Nation number 40. So drum roll. So we are looking tonight at like you see on the advert that has gone out, we are considering tonight nation number 40, which is Sao Tome and Principe. Sao Tome and Principe. Sao Tome and Principe. That is the nation number 40. Now, you would recollect that I've mentioned to you earlier that when we talk about we are on nation number 40, it means that we've gone nation number 1. We've gone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 until we've now come to nation number 40. We've gone through Algeria, Angola, Benin, Botswana, Burkina Faso, Burundi, Cameroon, Cape Verde, Central African Republic, Chad, Comoros, Congo, Cote d'Ivoire. We've gone through Democratic Republic of the Congo, Djibouti, Egypt, Equatorial Guinea, Eritrea, Ethiopia, Gabon, Gambia, Ghana, Guinea-Bissau, Kenya, Lesotho, Liberia, Libya, Madagascar, Malawi, Mali, Mauritania, Mauritius, Morocco, Mozambique, Namibia, Niger, and we've gone through Nigeria. And last week, we looked at Rwanda. Rwanda just had their election. Good evening, News Morning 24. Welcome to the Mentor Show. And for our audience on Facebook at Olushola Ajide, welcome. For our audience on LinkedIn at Dr. Olushola Ajide, welcome. For our audience on Instagram, welcome. For our audience on YouTube at Africa Coaching and Mentorship Initiative YouTube channel, we welcome you to the Mentors Show. And so, we are on nation number 40. You will see from the adverts that I put out, the flyer, that we are mapping Africa's natural resources. And tonight, we are looking at nation number 40. So, it's a great one tonight that we are looking at this nation, Sao Tome and Principe. We're looking at Sao Tome and Principe tonight. That is what we are considering. Now, this particular nation, Sao Tome and Principe, was a former colony of the Portuguese. It was a former colony of the Portuguese. That's Sao Tome and Principe. And this particular nation is located in the western, Gulf Guinea. It's called the Gulf of Guinea. The Gulf of Guinea is that area where you have it close to Guinea, Guinea-Bissau, and you have it close. So if you look at it's there in the waters, in the western waters there of the Atlantic Ocean. So this is an island, a country that's an island in the Gulf of Guinea, in the western equatorial coast of Central Africa is where we have. Now, don't forget, why we look at these nations and why we do looking at mapping Africa's resources, like I mentioned earlier, is to inform, to educate you, is to help you to appreciate the world we have around us. And number two, of course, is to engage you, to make you to think. Because I keep saying, on this show, I normally ask a question: why were you born? Why do you exist? For what purpose were you given birth to? And I dare say, every human being on earth is born, exists to solve a particular problem. And for us, we do exist to tackle the challenge of ignorance. We exist to educate, to bring to your knowledge those things that are seemingly not known, and to make you discover your purpose. Because by the time you know why you exist, by the time you know why you are on earth, and by the time you know what problem you are here to solve. That will help you to begin to engage with your purpose, and then you begin to live. You begin to live and begin to thrive. So let us know which country you are joining us from. News Money 24. For those of you on LinkedIn, let's know the nation you are joining us from. For those of you on Facebook, let's know which nation you are joining us from today. And for those of you who are here, even on Instagram, let us know which nation you are joining us from. So that's the geographical location, that this country is around the Gulf of Guinea, in the equatorial coast of Central Africa. That is where this nation is located. It consists of two archipelagos around two main islands, Sao Tome, which is the most populous one, and Principe, which is about 150 kilometers apart. That's almost about 45 minutes flight from both nations if you are going from Sao Tome to Principe. Now, this particular nation is touted to be the second most less populated nation on the continent of Africa. So the flag of this nation, let me give you about the flag of this nation. The flag of this nation is 3 horizontal bars of green, yellow, and green. And on the yellow belt, we have 2 stars. And on the left-hand side of the flag, of where you have at top of the 3 bars, we have a triangle that is aligned symmetrically, the center pointing at the midpoint of the yellow bar. 3 bars, and we have a triangle, and that angle is pointing towards the eastern direction, and is pointing directly just at the center. You have 2 stars of that particular. Now, like I mentioned, this nation is the second smallest and second least populous nation, because it has the population of this nation is 20,000 people. 372 is the population of this particular nation. And the capital of this nation is Sao Tome and Principe. Sao Tome, while it's a Portuguese country, like I told you earlier, it's colonized, previous colony of Portugal. And of course, recognized language includes Portuguese official language, Foro Creole, Angola Creole, Principense Creole. Those are the official language. The religion, there's 81.1% Christians in this country, 13.2% no religion in this country, 3.1% folk religion, and 2.4% other religion in this country. When you talk about the denonyms, or we call them Sao Tomean, so you refer to these people as Sao Tomean, those who are from this particular nation. Sao Tomean or San Tomean. So they have a unitary government, a semi-presidential republic. The president is Carlos Villanova, and prime minister is Patrice Trovoada. Yep. They gained independence in 1975. 1975 was where this nation gained independence, 12th of July 1975. The total area is 964 kilometers. And I told you the population. The GDP of this nation, total GDP is $1 billion, while the per capita income is $4,238,000. That's the per capita of this nation. The currency is called Dobra. The currency of this nation is Dobra, and Yeah, yeah, that's it. So this particular nation has gone through quite some interesting period. Interesting period. Let's look more a little bit before we go to looking at the natural resources. Let's look more about the economy of this nation. So, because of all the challenges of economic challenges they've gone through, the nation has gone through. Now, while this nation, many years ago, during the colonial reign and everything, it used to be the world producer of cocoa at a point. It's been a world leader in production of sugar cane at a point. And after slave trade, the economy nosedived, and they've still been under the tutelage, if you like to use that word, the colonialists until 1975. In 1975, they gained independence, and since then and now, the nation continues to grapple. Now, this is like the challenge with every nation on the continent of Africa. And when we saw Rwanda, or when we saw Nigeria, or any of those nations that has a lot of resources, until those of us from the continent and the leaders in the continent discover our voice, discover what we have and our uniqueness, and begin to tap the natural resources to be a blessing to the common man, so to speak. Until then, the struggle will continue. We continue to strive to look for people who are passionate, people who are conscientious, people who are loyalists to the nation, to the continent, people who are loyalists and who are concerned about the development of every human being, who believe in the human right, that there is a right to life, and there is a right of every human being to enjoy that life based on the resources of the nation where they find themselves. So this is a continuous need, as it were. Now, when it comes to finance and trade, the major imports, this nation does a lot of import. The major import of this nation is from Portugal. And it's like that for all major countries who have been colonialists, that the nation they colonize seems to have the highest amount of trade with them. So Portugal has 34.7% highest trade. The next is Togo with 20.0%. Next is next is Angola with 14.9%. Then we have 4.2%, which is China, and we have 3.9%, which is Japan, and then we have all others. In other words, this nation depends largely on importation of goods and services. While they export, the nation exports to Netherlands 51.3%, the nation exports to Belgium 20.8%, the country exports to Portugal 4.9%, to Germany 3.9%, to Spain 3.3%, and you have all others making 15.8%. So the nation, having grappled with the issue of economic woes, have been trying to use tourism as a means of getting people to come to attend and to be in that particular country. Now, this nation of Sao Tome and Principe, I mentioned briefly earlier, religion. No, I didn't mention religion. It was language spoken and other things. Catholics are 55.7, Adventists are 4.1, Assemblies of God 3.4, New Apostolic 2.9, the Manor is 2.3, and we have non-religious 21.2, and we have other denomination which is 10.4. It's an interesting thing that even in Africa we are having quite a lot of people who claim not to have any religion whatsoever. I don't believe it was like that before. I don't believe it was like that even before now. All right. So when it comes to life expectancy in this nation, of okay, good. Want to be the should when it comes to life, first, before we go to life expectancy, let's look at the natural resources, like I mentioned earlier. Let's look at the natural resources. The natural resources of this particular let's look at the so looking at a point, this particular nation was touted to have, they still have oil, and they were having a conversation. In fact, between them and Nigeria, there was this agreement, the Nigeria, Sao Tome and Principe, joined, because the part of our waters, they were neighbors in part of the waters, and there was a joint agreement to try and do seismic data to look for materials, to look for oil, in that meeting point. So I think the arrangement fell through, did not go on, because Nigeria was the claim was that there was not enough reserve of oil in that area that warrant that arrangement to continue. All right. So the natural resources. All right. So Sao Tome natural resources are very few. However, the island nation has considerable fish and hydropower resources. So because it's an island, they have fish and hydropower resources. I mentioned earlier, they are dependent on the growth of sugarcane, which subsided. Again, they became the cocoa produced. Even they still produce cocoa till today. The country is versed and is blessed to be able to produce these materials. %90 of the country's income of the country is imported. That's an opportunity. And that's why we come on this show. That through this show, opportunities will come to you. Through this show, you get knowledge to know what is happening. And areas you have not thought of before, you begin to think and reflect and see what can you do to maximize the opportunity that is being provided. That is being provided. All right. The all right. So that's all the nation does have. And they of course, there's the use of other resources in this particular nation. So if these are all water, fish, and a fertile ground, there behooves an opportunity for agriculture, extensive agriculture. And that's why you will come on the show, for you to know what are the opportunities down there across the world. Because if you are not the solution, then you don't be a contributor, but be a solution. That's the bottom line. Be a solution. Don't be a contributor to the problem. Be a solution to the problem. All right. They don't have any mining company. They have pit for supply, local clay, gravel, and stone demand. Okay. So you could not imagine that with all these challenges, how would they now have resources to ensure that the life expectancy is long? The life expectancy is 67.59. That was, people grow up to that age and it's possible for them to leave the earth. Whereas as opposed to the West, in which people are living up to 80, 85, 90, 91, 92, 95. We see people living their lives. And that's why we come on this show. If you are on this show called tonight and you are from Principe, and you are from anywhere, your country is look like that. But of course, you can begin to use your influence to bring positive change in the country where you are currently. And that is what is important. That is very important. So when it comes to the issue of agriculture, like I told you earlier, I alluded to the fact that the nation has a lot of fertile ground. Fertile ground. If you have fertile ground, of course, agriculture is the next bet. So it would be nice if the government or somebody from Simply is listening of opening schemes of agriculture across the nation, because they are extremely all right. So agriculture, they have cocoa, seed and cocoa beans, They have fertile soil, volcanic soils. So they have good ground for tropical agriculture, because this nation, actually in between it is the tropics, and also we have the equator dividing, passing through this nation of the Sao Tome and Principe. So when it comes to the aspect of the health, so now before I drop the aspect of the agriculture, we mentioned on this show that, remember when we talk about Benin Republic, that some people in Benin were selling their children for $15. $15. Yeah, you heard me right. People were selling their dollars for $15 in Benin Republic, because of subsistence farming, because of poverty. And that is why we come on your show that there are people who should arise. Good evening. So there are people who should arise. There are people who should arise to bring about a change even on the continent, that will bring about change and transformation. So there are people that need to come about. Somebody has been on this show before, who develops and who manufactures tractors. We need mechanized farming on the continent of Africa. For Africa to rise and for it to meet the needs of all the people in Africa, there's a need for people to step forward to begin to manufacture, as we do of cars, trying with cars, also agricultural products, because it is mechanized farming that will help the continent to be able to enter into the development status as it is required. Now, when it comes to healthcare, the medical facilities in Sao Tome and Principe are limited, and many conditions, healthcare need evacuation to Europe. See, South Africa, Ghana, Gabon, or any other nation for treatment. And I said, make sure you have adequate travel, health insurance, and accessible funds to cover the cost of any medical treatment abroad and repatriation. So that's actually very, very important. Okay. So the healthcare, of course, healthcare in Sao Tome falls into the very bad category when evaluating the right to reproductive health, because the nation is fulfilling only 53.8% of the entire population that needs to be catered for. So you could see the opportunities here, opportunities for private hospitals, opportunity for private agricultural lands, massive agricultural companies, because since they've been there before about slavery, there's a large knowledge of land resources. When it comes to the education, the academic year begins in September and ends in June, and the official primary school entrance age is 6, and the system is structured about the 6-3-3-4 system, 6-3-3-4 system, which is 6 years in primary, 3 years in secondary, for secondary, and that 3 years in secondary, and that will, prep the child for success. All right, so we're looking at I've mentioned the health. All right. So we've looked at the agriculture, we've looked at the agriculture, we've looked at the health, we look at the mineral resources available to this nation, human capital and natural resources. We've looked at all those. So there are opportunities for this nation to grow. And like I mentioned earlier, there are opportunities. These opportunities are why we are coming your way, for you to be able to use and utilize this information to be able to, take advantage of the opportunities available in each and every of these nations. For those of you on LinkedIn, thank you so much. Let us know where you are joining us from. Give comments. Follow us on all the social media platforms. Leave your comments and let's know where you are joining us from. You have a say. You can put in your say. You can put your say in this information that we are looking at. We are looking at Principe, Sao Tome and Principe. That's our focus today. Sao Tome and Principe. Good evening, Doctor. Welcome to the Mentor Show. We are still expecting you on the show, sir. How is America today? Yeah, so that's what we are looking at. And what are your thoughts? What are your comments? What opportunities do you think are there for countries in Africa to be able to come out of all the challenges and to begin to be a frontliner, to begin to solve his own problem? Now, yeah, I forgot to mention, when it comes to this nation of Sao Tome and Principe, the population is about, I told you, about 200 something. Half of that population, they are under the age of 15, which goes to tie to what we said earlier about other nations in Africa also, that over 60% or 65, or even if you can push it to 70% of Africa are under the age of 25. Africa is still a young continent. And because still a young continent, the people are needing, the children will go to school, they need schools, they need knowledge, the work is changing, even now with the aspect on the diverse aspect of work, of work evolution. Africa needs help, needs mechanization when it comes to agriculture, needs industrialization when it comes to production of goods and services. So needs health care, up to speed health care. So these are things that are there. And I remember reading the other day about the Trans-African Road Network, the Trans-African road network, which is supposed to run from Cairo to South Africa, to South Africa, and to run across. Perhaps when this kind of a network is available, perhaps it will encourage and engender communal and co-sharing of vision, of knowledge that will bring about positive change in the continent. So, on that note, I think I want to stop there for tonight. We've looked at Sao Tome and Principe. Is for you to, so if you are from that nation, you have a right and obligation to see to the development of the nation. And if you are not from Sao Tome and Principe, you can look at, because all the nations in Africa have the same kind of issues. So you can look at and say, oh, how can I be a change in my country? How can I bring about transformation in my own country of birth? What can I do? So you look at your profession. So in the medical field, if you're a pharmacist, you be looking at, okay, can you begin to do research and begin to look at new opportunities, new medicine that will tackle malaria, that will tackle AIDS, that will tackle all the issues and the problems that are there on the continent. So if you are an academic like I am, begin to look at how can we provide education for the young folks on the continent of Africa. And when we talk of education, we mean transformative education. Transformative education. So these are part of the things that we begin to look at. So again, I finished the way I started. If you are on this call tonight or you're watching the replay, have you discovered why you were born? Because you are part of the solution to whatever challenges is definitely this nation of Sao Tome and Principe, and of course, the nation of your birth. So, and on that note, I draw the curtain tonight to say thank you for those of you, the three of you are with us on LinkedIn. We're grateful. Let us know where you are joining from. Let us know how we can, connect. How we can connect more. It seems LinkedIn is frozen or something. All right. So on that note, I want to thank you for being with us on this show tonight. It's been a wonderful one. We'll come your way again next week, Tuesday, by the grace of God. Don't forget, I'm your host, Dr. Olushola Ajide. So thank you for being with us. We'll see you again next week, Tuesday, by the grace of God.